Do you think your marriage has to be in trouble before you get support for it? I'm Leslie Dories, and this is a common thing. I frequently tell people that getting support for your marriage is not a punishment, and it's something that most people can really benefit from. So I was having this conversation with my husband when we found out that our relatively new neighbors just got engaged. And my husband was teasing about giving them my card. And I said, that really is not a bad idea. And it's also not a joke. Because the thing is that most people have absolutely no idea how to create and sustain a healthy, successful marriage. I was reading a statistic somewhere that basically said 70% of people who get married have no idea what they're walking into. Because marriage is, even though I know you're not supposed to modify this word, a truly unique relationship. It is a combination of pretty much every other relationship that exists. It's a business arrangement. It's a romantic relationship. It's potentially a family parenting relationship. There's finances involved. There's hopefully friendship. It's all mixed up in one relationship. And as you've heard me say before, if every one of your other romantic relationships has failed, how are you going to keep this one going? And I hired a personal trainer a long time ago. And then I hired a health coach to help me lose some weight. And maybe you know somebody or actually done it yourself. You've hired a golf pro or a tennis pro to help you improve your game. And many of you might even have mentors in your professions. So my question is, what makes your marriage different? And it's a really good question to ask because it doesn't have anything to do with how much you love each other. If you don't know how to work through the nuts and bolts, if you don't have a game plan for how you're going to negotiate very common challenges, how to deal with your money, how to deal with your intimacy. If you have children, how do you parent? How do you deal with your friends and family? Time structures, running of the household, all of these things. Most couples do by the seat of their pants. And that is where danger comes in. Many years ago, my personal trainer happened to notice that when I would do squats, I would not go down evenly. I favored one side over the other. Now, I couldn't feel it. And I generally didn't work out in a place where there was a mirror, so I couldn't see it. But she could. That is what somebody can do with your relationship. It isn't about anybody being to blame. It isn't about that you're bad people. It's just that you don't know how all the pieces go together. It's really like trying to do a jigsaw puzzle when you can't see the picture. Can you do it? Sure. Is it a lot easier if you have something to look at, something to refer to? Absolutely. But for some reason, marriage becomes like this black hole. People go and get married, and many marriage ceremonies today actually ask the people who are there, will you support this couple? Most of them say yes. And that's usually the last we hear of it. And I'm not talking about going to your friends and family and complaining and moaning about everything that's going wrong in your relationship. I'm talking about going to somebody who has no vested interest in it. They're not your friend, they're not your family member, but they are experts. And they can take a look at what's going on. Because the longer that you guys are off course, the harder it is to get back. And in some cases, this is what leads to divorce, right? We don't know how to do this. We think we do, or we try, but if we just keep trying the things that don't work, we're going to be in the same boat. So if this is you, if you have, you know, there's a saying about the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time to plant a tree is today. The best time to get guidance for your marriage is before you get married. Second best time, today. Because the longer you keep doing things that aren't productive, the harder it's going to be. So if you would like to get some help with this, I invite you to go to my website, www.theherohusbandproject.com, and take the 5-minute relationship quiz, which will give you a baseline of where you are in your relationship. And, I'm actually a very nice person. I realize, but most people, if they come to me, it's like, oh, we want to hide this. We don't want to let anybody know we're doing this. When we have kids, we are constantly asking people for help. We're constantly looking for, how do we potty train them? How do we get them to sleep? How do we get them to do this? How do we get them to do that? But marriage, like I said, is this black hole. You go into it on your wedding day, it stays hidden, and then, maybe you're lucky and you stay together and it's not miserable. But a lot of people get divorced when they don't have to, when just learning the skills would be helpful. So please, if you find this helpful, please subscribe to my channel. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can reach me at Lesli, Lesli, at foundationscoachingnc.com. Or you can DM me, or, you give me a call, area code 919-924-0463. But the thing is that everybody, I don't know of any couple, including myself, that could not use some really solid support for what I consider the most important relationship you're ever going to have. So hopefully this has been helpful, and until next week, stay loving.